What up, gang? Today we're going to be talking about how to make that bag and how to bring home that bacon using photography in 2022. And today we're going to be talking about going from nothing to something, getting the ball rolling. How do you get your first clients? How do you fight that imposter syndrome that's holding you back? How do you start to really make proper progress in your photography business so 2022 can be your best year yet? And I feel like I'm in a really good place to kind of explain these early stages because I've essentially done it twice. Pre-2020, I used to have a photography business where I gave portraits and a tour around London, and I won the best experience of 2019 on the Airbnb platform. And that business literally evaporated overnight. I received no money from the government, no money for my business was made, I had no income, nothing. I got fully wrecked by the thing. I spent the next few months playing Warzone and RuneScape with my friends before reluctantly finally accepting that my business was dead and it wasn't going to come back. And in mid-2020, I then decided, nah, this is bullshit, I'm going to get off my ass and I'm going to create another business and we're going to get this off the floor. And so in 2021, I have traveled the world creating content for Grand Prix all over Europe and America. I've worked with other household names creating content that's been pushed out to millions of different users. And I now have a business that funds itself and seems to make money every month, which at the start seemed like an impossible task, and now we're here. So I feel like I'm in a good place to talk about this. And so this video is just going to be the advice that I would have given myself. I fell into a bunch of different pit holes, and I just wish that there was someone here to almost mentor me instead of just falling into these dumb mistakes and have to learn the hard way. Do you have any questions? Please put them in the comments and I will get back to you. With that in mind, please take all of the advice I am saying and apply it to your own situation. Think about why I was thinking these things and then apply that to your situation. And that will be the best way to articulate and to use this information to your best advantage. The most integral part of growing your business is getting out there and getting people to know who you are. And obviously being good at what you do helps, but most people don't have the visual language to be able to explain why this photographer is better than that photographer. And so what people do is they know what brands are bigger, what brands are more well known. And these brands must have trusted X photographer to deliver on their campaign, and therefore they must be a better photographer. And more often than not, this is what people use to qualify how good you are as a photographer. And so this is why it's vital to have two things. You've got to have brands on your CV, but you've also got to have a portfolio that represents what you want to do. And so this leads us on to the next point, which is how do you get brands on your CV? And this I think is so underrated. Brands attract brands. Facts. And so there was this one shoot that I did with a couple of friends, and since then I've had prospective clients see that we've done a shoot with this brand and been like, oh, you've done work with them, wow, that's so sick. And they've booked us. And then a different prospective client has then seen the work that I've done with these people and the original work and gone, you've done work with both of them. Okay, let's definitely book you in. And it literally is a spiral. The more brands you get on your CV, the more people go, oh wow, they're that kind of photographer. And all you need is that one single recognizable brand on your CV and literally the world opens up to you. It is unbelievable. I don't believe that you can hop, skip and jump into charging absolute bank for your work if you don't have a portfolio to back it up. And so if you want to be a sports photographer, you need to be shooting sports. If you want to be a product photographer, you need to be shooting products. And in the early days, I don't think you need to be too specific because you're still trying to figure out what it is that you want to do. But you need to have examples of, if someone wants a product photo, I can shoot products. You need some lifestyle photos, I can shoot lifestyle. You need to have examples in your portfolio so people go, oh yeah, we just want him to do that, or we just want them to do that. If you found a piece of advice so far particularly useful, I would love a thumbs up, and if you could write a comment below saying which bit you found to be particular gold, that would be absolutely epic because we are out here helping each other become the best photographers we can. The longer term you think, the greater your rewards will be. And so you have to think long term. I would probably avoid thinking too much about money for the short term. If you think that a shoot will progress your career because you've got a cool shoot in your portfolio, do it. If you think that this shoot will be a great client success story, do it. If you think that this in some way is going to give you the network opportunities, do it. I think that it's very easy to say, no, you need to charge exactly how much you're worth straight from the off. But if you're just starting out, you are quite inexperienced. I was the same. I still probably am the same, but I keep the same mentality. If I think this is going to better my career, I will do everything I can to be able to do that, because I know that getting this brand on my CV, that doing this shoot is going to help me later down the line get more work who will pay me what I'm worth. And this mentality gives you so much more bartering power when talking to prospects, because they think that if you've got a sick portfolio, sick client list, XYZ, they then think, damn, he is up here, he is fantastic. And that then means that when you quote these bigger prices, people go, well, yeah, that's how much he charges, that's how much he can charge. He must be that good. And so by doing these things that initially seem like it's a loss, like you're giving up your weekends, you're spending money, actually pay off dividends. And I think this is a highly, highly, highly underrated mentality to have in every aspect of business, not even photography, just in general. The longer term you can think, the more you can deal with the hardships of not making any money, spending all of your free time, giving up opportunities to socialize, to do this, the faster you will get to a point where you're like, this is where I actually want to be. Because I think that if you start thinking too short term, start thinking, no, got to get paid, got to do X, Y, and Z. No, I read on a post that I need to be charging maximum rates always, then you're not going to get the same opportunities. You're not going to build your portfolio, and you're not going to get the brands on your CV that you need to then command those higher wages. So think long term. Do free work, but never work for free. If someone comes to you and says, hey, what's up? You're a good photographer. How about you come and help me and my business, and I'll give you exposure. I'll tag you. I've got loads of mates who love photographers and who always want to work with them. They're always asking me for recommendations. Never in your fucking life work with them. They are lying to you. They are cowboys. And trust me when I say this, every time I've reframed it and said, okay, well, if you get so many recommendations, how about we do this at my full rate, and I'll give you future discounts. I will, like, for every referral you get, I'll give you a couple £100. Every single time, they have completely ignored me. Why? Because they don't trust their word. They know that they are just chatting shit to get free work. And I cannot explain enough. Do not work with these people. They are someone else's problem, not yours. Save yourself the hassle. Trust me. Repeat business is easier than new business. Fact. Once you have a relationship with a business, chances are, if you did a good job, they will come back to you because it is easier for them to do so. But obviously, all of this repeat business was at one point new business. And so, how do we get new business? Yeah, you can send DMs to people, you can message a bunch of different people on LinkedIn, whatever. I personally think that you are wasting your time. You are scattering your efforts, and that isn't worth very much. Whereas if you are super creative and really direct, being like, I want to work with you, people will take notice. And so this is what I did, but think about how you can do this yourself. So back in June 2020, I came up with this marketing campaign for my own business called the London Staycation. And I was trying to target Londoners to come out and experience London, because not very many people really got into the nitty-gritty. Not very many people who lived and worked in London really knew much about the city. They didn't visit it like a tourist. So I was like, okay, how can I target those people and encourage them to have their holidays in London? And I quickly realized that obviously this, whilst it was aimed for my business, would also work just as well for other businesses who also relied on tourism. And so I hit up a bunch of different hotels and tourist kind of focused businesses and reached out and pitched them the idea. And all it took was one of them to come back and say, actually, we were thinking about doing this campaign or a similar campaign. How about we have a conversation? And that has literally transformed my business. Do not underestimate the power of being like a sniper, thinking, this is a person I want to work with. How do I get in front of them? Don't think about it for 5 minutes. think about it for a long time and shoot your shot that you know they're going to be interested in. And I promise you, this will change your business for the better. And there's a reason why pros charge more than you, and it's not necessarily because they are better than you, it's because they understand the business of photography more than you. And so let me explain. So initially, you may think that £200 for a one-day shoot is amazing, but in reality, that is not sustainable, and you are very quickly going to burn out of cash. And so early on, you're like, dude, I have just spent 4 hours messing around with the camera, taking photos. It's been chill when I've got 200 quid. But no, when you start breaking it down into all of the time that you spend with your clients or on this client shoot, you've got time spent traveling, you've got time spent liaising with the client, emailing, calling, you've got the time actually shooting, you've got the time editing, you've got the time delivering, the time getting feedback. There's so many different elements of time that very quickly add up, and your initial 4-hour photo shoot is now 10, 15 hours. And then you start thinking about, okay, well, what about the costs? Who's paid for your travel? Who's paid for your food? Who's paid for your SD cards? Who's paid for your hard drives? Who's paid for your camera, your lenses, your laptop? These things, I presume, you pay for. And so all of a sudden, you're then having to remove the cost of buying your camera, your laptop, your X, Y, and Z from that, plus the money that you spent actually doing the shoot. And then you divide your time by the amount of money you've got left. You're working for less than minimum wage, and you are hustling. And that is just a recipe for burnout. And trust me when I say this, because I did that. And don't overestimate the value of people liking you. I've had clients who've come to me and said, we used to work with this other photographer, he was a right prick, we hated working with him, so that's why we hit you up, and we really like working with you. That is honestly so true in business. You want to work with people that you enjoy working with, and if you're that fun, friendly photographer that people want to spend time with and who enjoy hanging out with you, then you are going to get so much more work than if you are a pretentious photographer who is like, I'm an artist, I know what I'm doing. Obviously you don't have to be French, but you get what I'm saying. Do not overestimate just being friendly, giving people like little gifts. That goes such a long way in terms of getting repeat business, which, as we said earlier, is the easiest option for growing your business. So number one trap is Instagram. Many people think that the more followers you have on Instagram results in you making more money as a photographer. That is not true. There are hundreds of photographers with 2,000, 3,000 followers who are charging 10, 20, 50,000 pounds per shoot because they are sick. And every single one of their followers are creative directors, art buyers, people with a lot of money. And that is how their business runs. And it's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking, yeah, but if I just get a few more followers, I'll be able to charge more. I don't think that's the case. I've managed to quadruple my day rate from 800 followers to 1,300 followers. There's very little crossover between the amount that I charge and the amount of followers that I have. And so please, don't think that you have to have more followers to charge more money. It is a trap that will keep your business stuck, really. Charge what you think the market is worth for your work. And so the second trap is your portfolio. Many photographers will have lots of different photos on their portfolio. But believe me when I say this, the smaller, the tighter, the better, the absolute pinnacle of your work that you can have as a portfolio is going to instantly impact your business. So many people, so many photographers lose business because they have one or two photos that aren't as good as the rest of their work. And if I'm a client and I'm choosing a photographer and I see that this is their best body of work that they have, and they've got a couple of photos that are really not great, I don't want to risk paying a couple £1,000 to have them produce images that look like those two photos. That is an instant turn off. I've been working client side and people have been like, now we're not working with them because of that. And it is unbelievable because when you've got options to choose from hundreds of different photographers, then yeah, why would you take the risk? And so cull your portfolio till it is just the best photos. And if you are interested in other people having a look at your work, I do offer portfolio reviews, and it's something that I found particularly useful, having my portfolio reviewed by someone else. And if you think this would be a benefit to you, then link in the description. And so that concludes the business advice for growing your photography business in 2022. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and I promise you I will get back to you. And yeah, until next time, peace.